Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Daniel James TV. I got a feedback video here for you. We're going to have Western women talking about what they bring to the table, and we're going to have the Filipina girl that is married to a Westerner living in Philippines very happily comment back on what she thinks. So let's get into it.
Yo, ladies, what do you bring to the table?
Well, let's see. I'm smart, I'm successful, and I'm a homeowner. I went from retiree to being a business owner. I have good credit and decent looks. I have no baggage, no emotional damage, and no arrest record. I spent a lot of time working on myself, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Baby, I built my own damn table and I know it's solid. So my question to you is, what can you bring to my table?
See, right away, it's like a competition. Right away. She's talking about all her accolades, all her accomplishments, all her value with materialistic things, education, all this other stuff, which is what a woman looks for in a man, not necessarily what a man looks for in a woman. And in this channel, we're going to cover things that are not encompassing 100% of everything, because humans think differently, of course, by age, by demographic, by life experiences. But when we say most of or majority of, we're talking 51%, y'all. We got to have a conversation by generalizing. I know some people like to live in the gray area of life and not say yes or no. And we get all that. Sometimes there is a yes, sometimes there is a no. I don't know, is are okay too. But we got to actually have some generalization to talk about majority of the topic that we're talking about. We can't lower our intellectual thinking, always coming up with the 1, 2, or 5% that really doesn't even matter to the conversation. We're talking about most of. And this is how most Western women approach this topic here. When they're asked what you bring to the table, so they start talking about, all their education, all their accomplishments. They never once did she really talk too much about her character, except that she's worked on herself. She's obviously older. She said something about being a retiree. Now she's a homeowner. I'm not really sure, where she's going with all this, but let's continue here. See.
I don't know what's her point of making this list or response, but for me, this is the worst response I've ever heard.
See, here we go. This is a happily married Filipina living in Philippines, and it looks like they've got a good amount of property for her to hang out and sit around. So let's just, by observation, say she's got quite a bit of comfortable life, married to a Western man, and she agrees immediately that this is the wrong way for a woman to present herself.
Because this is not how you attract or please men, rather. Men doesn't really care about a women's wealth, how many houses you own, how many businesses you have, like how much money do you make. Men doesn't really care about those.
Exactly. And a lot of females are going to say, oh, you're just insecure, or, you're basically overshadowed, by my accomplishments and things like that. Men are not necessarily insecure because they don't find this attractive. What I say, oh, you're a 5'3" or 5'5" woman, and you want a man who's taller than you. Oh, does that mean that you're insecure about your height because you want a man who's taller than you? Or, oh, you don't feel as strong, and confident about your physical ability, so you want a man who's stronger than you? I mean, women constantly shame men for, our preferences on what we want, and most of them are rooted in biology. Women have their preferences, and those lists are a whole lot longer than men's lists. That's for darn sure. We're pretty simple when we get to it, but the fact that, we're shamed for what we want, shame for what we think is attractive or what we desire based on our, biological urges, it's just shameful, and as a result, women think that we're insecure, or something's broken or wrong with us because this is what we prefer. I mean, why don't you guys date 5'5" men? Why don't you guys date men that are 125 pounds instead? Why don't you just date the same as you then? If that philosophy makes sense, use your own logic. I mean, it doesn't make sense to you, does it?
things. If there's any man that watching this video, please correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. In my opinion, most men prefer to be with a kind, loving, caring, respectful, agreeable, easy to live with women that is working in a McDonald's than
There you go. She already started naming off most men want, and she goes down to characteristics of the personality. She's actually describing personal characteristics of a woman that she thinks a man desires. You didn't hear characteristics and descriptions of those characteristics from the other woman. You heard accomplishments and things that she has or acquired.
being with a CEO, strong, independent woman that is very measurable to be with. And the lady in this video, she doesn't seems like she needs a man in her life to me. She have everything. I mean, if she can provide, she have her own table. Why make this video? You're just wasting your time because you're
Exactly. If you have everything and you're already so accomplished, then why are you even on here putting it out here with some form of request? Hey, what can you bring to the table? Hey, can you match me or beat me? And kind of putting out this call sign for a man.
you're not gonna attract any man. And I'm telling you right now, having all those things doesn't make you a high value woman. So I suggest you to just buy a dog and live your life alone. And I can guarantee you that sooner or later you will regret it and you will realize that life is measurable without having someone that really true cares about you. And it's sad because these feminist or strong independent women, they don't realize it until it's too late. And
Yeah, till it's too late. Till they always do this in their 20s. Well, I'm going to work on me. I'm going to build up my inventory of everything that I own or what I accomplish, whether it be, houses, cars, education, businesses, whatever. And, it's not that men, are intimidated by this. It's the kind of characteristics that you have to have in this world, especially in the West, to be successful. You can't be agreeable like men want women to be agreeable if you're trying to be successful. You have to take on masculine roles and masculine characteristics to obtain this type of qualification for upgrading in your work, or in your company, or trying to climb the corporate ladder, so to speak. You can't be agreeable, you can't be soft, you can't be all these things that in the personal life a man desire from a woman. In the professional realm, you're just going to get passed by or just eaten and swallowed up with the next person who's more hungrier than you. It's really the characteristics of what a woman takes on to be successful is what a man doesn't find attractive. It's not necessarily the accomplishments themselves.
she is trying to poison and influence a lot of women's mind online. And I also checked her comment section from her videos, and it makes me realize how easy to manipulate some women in Western country. And most of these feminist or strong independent women, they think that we are the one that are easy to manipulate and easy to control by our men. Now I understand why they say that, because they don't know how to be a woman. They probably hate being a woman because they don't want to be feminine, they don't want to be gentle to their partner because they want to be the one that is strong and want to control men because they have too much ego. And
Well, a lot of them do have ego, but it's a ego that's built up over time after they've been hurt. Maybe when they were younger, they were more feminine, they were more agreeable, they maybe did follow, the direction of a teenage boyfriend, and they got cheated on, they got disappointed, they put all their expectations into this person thinking, oh, this guy's going to love me, care about me, and be with me forever, which is, the puppy love mentality. And then that gets crushed, when you're younger. And then maybe you try again, in your late teens, maybe you try again in your early 20s, by 23, 25 years old, they've had, 3-5 boyfriends, multiple sexual partners. Many people at those ages from 18 to 23 have suffered a lot of heartbreak, a lot of disappointment, and basically are starting to really damage, their thinking of relationships and what they are, given the negative examples they've experienced. The other thing is really just the lack of trust. Once their trust has been violated so many times, they tend to start putting up walls. And I've met girls, in their early 20s and even in their mid 20s, they have walls so high no man can climb them. And that's all on purpose. They're making sure to keep everyone out. They're making sure just to exist enough, you know, to get some sort of attention or accomplish some sort of satisfaction, but never really giving their full trust. Therefore, the relationship doesn't really have much even chance, you know. Uh, it's sad but true, you know. Men really do desire women who are, you know, have been, you know, grown up in a good household that promotes, you know, a positive and healthy relationship between a man and a woman, gives a positive outcome for a potential future partner, not people who are going to give constant warnings and put somebody on the negative or on guard. You know, when these girls are getting out of their teens and into their early 20s, when they're more subject to, you know, heartbreak and more subject to trauma, this is, you know, depends on how the family has raised them. You know, if they have the confidence that, you know, they're going to find the right person, or if they're going to narrow down the qualities that they're looking for, it gives them a better opportunity to actually pair with that person. But the more and more these females continue to go through these relationships and get disappointed, get abused, get traumatized, get let down, get heartbroken, they're less likely every single time to actually give their all. And I mean, that's human nature on a certain extent, but, you know, men heal. You know, men keep a woman out long enough to where we finally just let her in all the way, like the floodgates. You know, after you get hurt, men take time off. Men do things that are good and bad, you know, and maybe not, you know, really approving of what everybody thinks around them, but men cope in different ways, you know. But there is a way to get to a man's heart all the way and let him go of that guard. You know, I think that's getting harder and harder with women to get through the guard.
Anyways, let's go back to her response. If that's all you can offer, that's all you can bring to the table, like you have money, you are financially stable, and that's all you can offer in a relationship. And if you're a woman, that's not what men expect a woman to bring to the table or to offer in a relationship. If that's what you want to do in a relationship, then what's your husband's job? What do you expect your husband to do in a relationship? Do you expect your husband to stay at home and get pregnant and take care of the family? It's crazy how some Western women think. And another
Yeah, see, that's another thing that I don't understand, the push for Filipino culture for everyone to go to school, specifically the females, so they can go into the workforce later on. I mean, you're literally skipping over the most fertile times of your life, the most bonding opportunities of your life, the part of your life where you have to admit before you get into heartbreaks and failed relationships would be younger. And younger, you have the chance to find that relationship that lasts, especially somebody to grow with, you know, and mature with and experience life with together through your 20s. That's how you really grow the bond and perpetuate an opportunity for you and that partner to have a life together, to be good parents together, be good partnership together. And women are skipping over this step. They say, let me go make a better me. That way I can find a better man. And they don't understand that the man doesn't want an already made, put together, complete. He doesn't. He wants to build with you. You know, he wants to, you know, experience life with you or with your first times. You know, he wants you to come to him about things that you don't know so he can help you learn them and look at them from the aspect of, you know, a trusting partner, not some other girl that you go to school with that has no boyfriend, that kissed a guy maybe 3 years ago and she's giving you advice about relationships. I mean, come on, guys. We say it over and over again, you know, don't ask a fish how to catch a fish. It doesn't make sense. So you got to consider the source of this advice, because it's really bad advice. Women give very, very bad advice. Females give other females bad advice. Most of the time it results in heartbreak or being single.
the thing is, they're making all these videos hating men, and a lot of women would actually believe it, and it would ruin their life because they would lost the opportunity to make a family and have a happy life and find a good man because they started believing all these feminist and strong independent women online.
I like this. She's actually showing how she's cooking. Yeah, she has an amazing life. She's out there, you know, getting the coconut milk. She's out there, you know, cleaning up the, you know, the lawn a little bit. She's got mangoes and bananas. She's serving her husband food. I mean, look at the pride that she's taking right now. Even look at the angle of the camera. She's literally literally capturing this moment where she's walking up, looks like he's at a desk, maybe doing work online, something like that. And she made him, egg with rice and some broccoli. That's probably your breakfast. Anything with egg normally, is going to be considered a breakfast in Philippines, and can't forget the rice. So yeah, look at this. She is actually capturing this moment where she is serving her husband. This is beautiful.
And probably start making videos as well about hating men, and that's going to be a disaster. And sad to say, it's already happening in a Western country. I just hope that
You can't get this from a job. You're not going, as a woman, with the way you guys are wired and the way you guys are biologically built. Honestly, look at this. She's living the most feminine, fulfilled life for her. Now, again, it's not everyone. Not 100% of women are going to feel this way. I get it. And whatever percentage it is that doesn't, this is not for you. But listen up. The majority of, or the naturalization of a feminine woman is to be in a paired relationship, especially after you give children with a man. I mean, let's get real here. You really want to be in a corporate office right now, staring at a screen, eating donuts and coffee and talking trash, at the water cooler at lunch, sitting in a cubicle most of the day, or then telling you take your lunch at a certain time. You're supposed to be hungry, eat your food when you're not even hungry, going to the bathroom in public restaurants, restaurant facilities. I mean, come on, guys. She's at a comfort of her own home. Now she's showing her serving, her husband another dish. And I know this is not all for everyone. This is not how everyone wants to live their life. This is not how everyone wants to experience, their relationship. And I get all that. Again, this is not, what you desire. Then maybe this video is not for you.
the younger generation will wake up, because these old ladies that making these hating videos about men, they don't really care about the younger generation.
Oh man, this might be lunch. He's got sisig over here on a hot skillet with the egg on top, fresh. Walk into the office. I mean, look at this, man. This guy's living it right now too.
The only reason why they make these videos, because they want every woman to be one of them. And this lady, she probably feel like she have no choice except making hating videos about men online, because she's not willing to change, or she doesn't want to be a woman.
Right. She's unwilling to change because she's gone too far in her life. She's too old. And here's what comes with being too old. You get set in your ways. You start experiencing things, and life tells you, oh, this is how it is. You start blinding yourself on to basically thinking that there's no other way. You've done it this way, and it works 87% of the time, so you're just going to do it that way. Forget trying to do the most efficient way, right? Sarcasm. And the other thing is she doesn't want to give up all her accomplishments or all her value, where she loses herself. See, they're finding identity outside of pairing. They're finding identity outside of relationships, of marriages, of a relationship, man and woman, with their actual life partner. And how are you going to mesh this single accomplished woman that done everything on her own with a single accomplished man that's done everything on his own? How can those two actually go together? The percentages of basically those that working out and you guys actually find middle ground is very, 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 very small, guys.
She doesn't want to be a wife. She doesn't want to submit to her husband.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be a wife. She doesn't want to submit, because women want to be married, but women don't necessarily want to be wives. There's a big difference, and we're going to go over that soon, but that's a big difference. She's absolutely right.
But anyways, that's her decision, or that's the choices that she made. I just hope that she won't be making...
I mean, this guy's got to be in his 50s, maybe in his 60s. He's probably in his late 50s at best, early 60s. I don't think he's quite 65 or 70. Maybe he is, and I don't think she's a day over 29 or 30. So she's in her 30s. They probably have a good 35 years difference, maybe more. And, they're complementing each other very well, despite that age gap. Because you guys have to understand, the age gap matters on a certain level for a man, but not on a certain level for a woman. I don't think a 27-year-old male is going to date, a 65-year-old woman, is he? So this is why the genders do matter and gender roles matter, because if you were to basically say it doesn't matter, then it wouldn't be the difference between an older woman with a younger man. We could basically both would match, but they don't. So it obviously goes back to, the the man, being older, having more life experience, having a lot more to offer to someone who's basically, younger in life. So therefore, the age gap actually is, accomplishment, and stability and maturity and life knowledge about love and relationships.
I'm so tired of being alone. I'm so tired of trying to find love on him. I mean, damn. I may not be pretty to somebody, but goddamn, I'm pretty to me. I'm so tired of being alone. I'm tired of this bullshit. I don't understand why am I still living. I just want to be somebody girlfriend, somebody wife, somebody something. I deserve to fucking be happy too.
Okay, see, I deserve to be happy too. I want to be somebody's wife. I want to be somebody's husband. And I'm not cold to this by any means. This still gets me and makes me feel emotional. Some of it is pity, and disappointment, kind of wrapped up into one. But the other thing is really, you got what you asked for. You are the sum of your decisions. How you got to today is what you did yesterday and all the other days before that. Not to point the blame on her by any means, but she should do that with herself, put responsibility, and understand how did she get to this. You make all these decisions thinking they're going to end up okay, or this is what I want to do. This is what's best for me. In what sense? If you're always going to make decisions about your own feelings, then you're eventually going to be only with yourself.
I'll be happy. I'm tired.
It's heartbreaking, guys. It's heartbreaking.
I'm tired.
Darling, do you know why you're single? It's because you don't like to be told what to do.
Women are single because the single life is more appealing.
This is the same girl that just went on here and said, I want a man. This is what I got. What do you bring to the table? I made the table and I know it's security. Now she's over here promoting the single life. This is what they do. This is the delusion that, oh, I love the single life better. No, it's because you just can't get a man. You can't get the man that you want. You're hooking up with, these Chads and Tyrones, getting humped and dumped, getting used, getting led on. Men are selling you the dream about a white picket fence, a house with a pool, and all this stuff. You believe it, and they're really just using you for sex. Within the first couple of minutes, maybe a couple seconds, but definitely the first couple of hours or days, a man can decide pretty well deep down if you're fun or your future. And unfortunately, girl, you are right away just fun, if that. And now you're going to tell everybody that just let's endorse a single life just because you can't get the man that you want to be in a relationship. Deep down inside, she wants a relationship. Deep down inside. But she's not going to admit it. This is her ego again, covering.
The regrets are always at the end. So please, ladies, be wise with your decision in life. And I kind of understand why some men have to ask you this kind of question, what can you bring to the table? Because some of you don't have clue how to be a woman or what's the role of being a wife. That's why some of you will get offended when men ask you this kind of question. Here in Asia, we don't normally ask by guys what can we bring to the table because they know exactly that we know what's our duty or rule as a wife.
Yeah, duty. Exactly. That's something that has been missed in the West. There's no duty. And I don't really understand how a woman's going to go out in her early to mid 20s and go through, 4 8 years of college and basically spend all her 20s doing that and then turn around, have a baby and stay home. Like, what's the point of all that education? What's the point of, oh, well, maybe later on in life I need to fall back, or, oh, just in case, there's my husband loses a job, and like all these other crazy, that's not why you went to college for 8 years in the back of your mind thinking, you know what, I'm going to do this just in case my future husband loses his job. I can go out in the workforce and get a job, and I'll have the education to get a good one. That's not what you're thinking. You're thinking for you. That's what you're thinking. You're thinking, I'm building myself up. My parents are going to make, look at me as more accomplished. And I have the pride of my neighborhood, and my family and my parents directly, and maybe my siblings. That's what you're doing. It's a self-serving thing. It's not prepared for the future thing. Who wants to go to school for 8 years anyways, just to go home and stay home and raise kids? Like, if you're going to stay home and raise kids and that's what you really desire to do, then skip wasting all your time doing all that, in my opinion, during your 20s, when you can secure the most quality man when you're younger, not at 32, at 22. I mean, come on, maybe be with somebody who shelters you from the single life, and the hookup culture. If you're involved in a relationship, then you're out of all that. Don't you get it?
Ever someone will ask me a question, what can I bring to the table or what do I bring to the table, I would say it's the same thing what my mom bring to my dad's table. And the first thing is a family. She turned the house into our home. And before my dad comes home from work, my mom always makes sure that she has food to put on my dad's table. And when my dad is down,
Yeah, what you bring to the table. That's funny that they never say food. I mean, we do eat 2 or 3 times a day as humans. I mean, we need food to actually survive, not to put the responsibility completely on the woman to actually put a plate on a table. But it's funny how many times this question gets asked and it's a table. What do you bring to the table? And they never actually mention food, which is part of duty. I love to cook. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a typical man in that sense. I'm not going to sit down and beg for food or demand food or even expect food every single day, every single meal. To me, I like to actually supply that for my woman for the most part. So I know what it means to have duty in the kitchen and supplying meal for your partner, because me and my relationship, I would like to be the one that cooks more. I like to be the one that does the grocery shopping more, plan the meals, and clean the kitchen and do the dishes. That would be my service and my duty to my partner. That's just me. But, in a conventional relationship, I would say that a woman could take pride in doing that. But it's funny, they never mentioned that.
or feeling depressed or suffering from mental health, my mom always makes sure that she's there for my dad. Next, emotional support. My mom would always want to make sure that she makes my dad feel loved and cared. Even if we have like 10 siblings, she always makes sure that she gives my dad the time and the attention. I don't think we would be 10 siblings if my mom don't give enough time for my dad anyway.
Yeah, 10 siblings. If they didn't have a good relationship, they wouldn't be having that much sex and making that many babies. That's a good point.
Or maybe she gave too much. That's why we're 10 siblings. I think
Yeah.
that's too much.
Yeah.
And also, she makes my dad's life easier. I remember growing up, we don't have much. My dad is just a farmer. He doesn't makes enough money. So what my mom did is she will also work to help my dad to support the big family and take care of us the same time. No doubt, my mom is a strong woman, but she will always depend on my dad. She never make my dad feel like she doesn't need him. And another important thing that the men need from their wife is the respect, understanding, loyalty, the unconditional love. And for you to submit to your husband is very important for them. Let him lead the
Oh, don't say that word. Oh, no, don't say that word. Most Western women, and now you guys are polluting even Filipinas and Asian and Eastern women, that this submissive thing is like some forced act. We're not talking about tying you up, in the bedroom or anything like that unwillingly, or anything else of a forced act. Submission is a willing act. It's because you do show the respect for, your superior partner, for someone who is taller than you that you asked for, stronger than you that you asked for, smarter than you that you asked for. Remember, this is the guy that you ordered. This is the guy that you wanted. And now that he's here, there's becomes, the role playing, of genders, and, who's the leader, who's the follower. By default, if you're going to want a leader, you're going to have to be the follower by default. It's just one side of the battery is positive and the other side of the battery is negative. You can't have two negatives to complete the circuit. You can't have two positive to complete the circuit, guys. I mean, things are balanced by nature.
family or the household. I know not every woman would agree with me. Some women would probably say, "Oh, that's too much. That sounds like slavery for me." Yes, I know it takes so much effort to be a wife, to be a mother. But the love, the joy that your children gives you, and the happiness that your partners gives you, knowing that you have someone that would truly cares and loves you. Please, ladies, while you're young, find a good man and live your happy life.
Yep, exactly. Well, guys, there you have it. Thanks for watching. Comment below. Let me know what you think. She's definitely on par with majority of the women in the East and Filipina specifically. I spent a good amount of time there, was living there for several months, and got to really experience the culture there. Unfortunately, the West is spreading everywhere. This mentality is leaking everywhere, through social media and through the internet. We're touching globally, this message, and unfortunately, we are hurting, the society, not only in U.S., but now we're polluting the rest of the world. Thanks for watching, guys.